Hi, welcome back to Lawyerist Lens. Today we're going to talk about marketing plans. And we know from the small firm scorecard that this is something most small firms don't have. That is an actual strategy, right? Like lots of firms do marketing. Every firm does marketing. That's how you get clients. But very few firms have a strategy. So I think the reason that so few firms have a strategy is that they aren't sure how to make one. What are we trying to do? And I think the place to start with that, the best place to start is with an idea of who is your ideal client. So maybe when I say that, you just have an idea of who your perfect client is. And that's the person you want more of, right? So you want to gear your marketing towards that person. If you don't automatically have a picture of who your ideal client is, use your imagination. Who would your ideal client be? And either talk to your ideal client if you've already had one, or talk to the kinds of people or companies or whatever that you would like to be your ideal clients to get an idea of how their journey towards legal representation has evolved, right? So before they knew they had a legal problem, they probably had just a problem that they were trying to solve. What kinds of things were they doing to solve it then? What kind of people were they talking to? What kind of resources were they trying to access? What sorts of things were they Googling? What kind of questions were they asking people? Those are the kinds of things you want to understand, because what you want to get is a picture of your ideal client's journey from the very beginning of their problem to the point at which they finally are ready to contact a lawyer. Because every lawyer is competing for business at the end, right? Let's call that shopping. Once somebody is actually shopping for a lawyer, the shelves are crowded with people who are fighting over Google search results, with people who are crowding the phone book or whatever, or presenting seminars to people. Everybody is fighting over that lawyer shopping phase. Very few people are fighting over the earlier stages. And so what you want to do is try to understand at which points in your ideal client's journey to legal representation could you meet them earlier along that road, right? So for example, before somebody is looking for a divorce lawyer, they are trying to make a decision whether or not to split up with their spouse. And before that, they're trying to figure out how to stay with their spouse. And they're trying to figure out how to parent with somebody they can't get along with. Or they're trying to figure out how to get along with somebody they're struggling to get along with. And so if you can address those problems earlier on, they never actually get to the point of lawyer shopping, because they already have a lawyer and it's you. Now, I used family law as an example because that's pretty obvious, right? There is a timeline of a relationship falling apart that we all know about, and most family lawyers are marketing all along that chain. If you're not a family lawyer, how could you use that differently in yours? I'll give you an example from my practice. I used to represent people who were sued by debt collectors. And most of my clients didn't realize they had a problem that a lawyer could help them with for anything near affordable. And so what I would do is I would try and address their problems earlier on while they were struggling with personal finance, right? How to afford things, how to manage their credit cards, how to pay debts, how to negotiate rates on cable TV, those kinds of things. Because if I can help people there, and I did it primarily through my blog and through answering questions on online forums, if I can help people there, then they already have a lawyer to call once their problem evolves, and I can inform them along the way. That was my strategy. And I bet if you understand your ideal client's journey, you can identify some opportunities where you could intersect with those clients along the way. Once you have an idea of where you might be able to intercept your ideal client along their journey, think about the ways that you could do that. My method was a blog, and that's a very common method. A lot of people do seminars, right? They go out and speak to people who are having issues that may or may not be the final issue that gets them to pick up the phone and call a lawyer. The trick here is to test a number of things. Sometimes there's an obvious thing and a less obvious thing. Test them against each other. Keep track of the time that you put in and put a value on that time. Keep track of your expenses. Keep track of the number of leads you get. Keep track of the number of clients those leads turn into, and keep track of the value of those cases along the way. So measure and evaluate what's actually working. Is there an opportunity to improve your approach? And how could you? And then repeat. So measure, evaluate, experiment again, repeat. That's how you have a marketing strategy. It doesn't need to be a 10-page document that is fully formed at the beginning. All you need is an understanding of who your ideal client is and a really good understanding of their journey to legal representation and where you can help them along the way. And then start experimenting. Try and figure out the best ways to reach out and help people who might eventually need your services, and then evaluate and experiment again until you get to the kind of marketing that really you're confident can bring in the clients. Before you leave, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified of new episodes. We'd really appreciate it. And if you get a chance, recommend Lawyerist Lens to somebody else who you think might enjoy the show. Thanks a lot. See you next week.